Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the right side of campus. It's a spooky Friday, the 13th, 2018. We're in the month of July. It's not really spooky, but it's Friday the 13th nonetheless. I'm your host, the big man on campus, here with my co-host, Donnie Rightside. Donnie, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing good today. Look, man, hey, little knowledge there. Friday the 13th, the movie. The first one was filmed in Blairstown, New Jersey. They always do it up on Friday the 13th here in the state of New Jersey, in that little town in the northwest corner of the state. So if you do go through it's like 50, 100 bucks, whatever. Jeff, take you on a little guided tour there. Like usually one of the Jason people that has played through the Friday the 13th shows up and shows you around the town. So good times in New Jersey, Jeff. Home of Friday the 13th.
Yep, Friday the 13th. We're not in October, but Halloween will be here before we know it. Football coming. Got a lot to do. We got a couple things to talk about here today. We got some things going forward next week that we want to let everyone know about. So we'll get to that and more a little bit later. A lot of baseball today. Got World Cup final over the weekend. We got some moves in the NBA. We got all sorts of stuff. Welcome into everyone out there listening, as always. Also, make sure you're checking out Intertops, the promoted sports book of the week. Make sure if you're in the market for a new book, make sure you check out Intertops. Great interface, easy to use, solid, quick payouts, great lines. And look, they've been around for a while. You want to make sure you're dealing with a reputable place. They've been around for a while. Make sure when you're looking for a new book, I've used Intertops, very good book, very solid. Check out Intertops today for all your betting needs. Welcome into the chat. Hopefully, you had a great night. Hit the like button. Make sure if you're on Twitter, retweet the show. It's a great way to get it out to people that maybe don't see it. Obviously, we'll get to some chat box comments. There's always some great ones. There's always some interesting ones. We'll get to those as we go forward here. But Donnie, let's get in to the show on here on a Friday. By the way, do want to make this clear. We're gonna make it clear at the end of the show as well. Donnie and I will be here tomorrow for the show, Saturday. We'll do the baseball show. But next week, people, we will not be here. Monday through Thursday, this show will not be on the air. We're taking some time off. Donnie and I, with the All-Star break coming up, we'll be tweeting. I'm sure Donnie will have some snarky comments about the All-Star game. I'll have some summer league picks as well. But the show will not be on next week. Monday through Thursday. We'll be back Friday as we hit the second half of the baseball season. Donnie, time for a couple of days off. I can't tell you the last time I had a day off at SBR, Donnie. I've been here for a long time. And, again, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's really the one time of the year that if you are a sports gambler or if you're in the industry that you do get to take a deep breath because not much is going on over that time. You can't do it during football season. You can't do it in like April and May, even though, packages and what you sell those for, but there's still sporting events going on. It's nice to decompress at that point because really when you get back, the second half of baseball season ramps up, but also football is here as well. So next week it's nice. Look, we can come on here Tuesday and do a show at 10 a.m. and God knows what we would be talking about. But hey, take the time off, refresh, rehash. Next Friday, that full Major League Baseball schedule get back underway. We'll have some fun, and we'll be right in the football season at that point, Jeff.
Yeah, we'll start talking more football. We'll start getting into the scheme of the. I saw yesterday, Donnie, that Eagles training camp's 2 weeks away. So,
Yeah.
you're starting to get to that point. So, we'll remind everyone at the end of the show. We will be here tomorrow doing that Saturday show. Let's get into the morning headlines here. See if you missed anything. The World Series of Poker is going on. For anyone that's not aware, we're down to the final. I believe 7 players. They knocked 2 out or 3 out last night. We're down to 6 players. They knocked 3 out last night. But Donnie, the big news is the obviously gigantic field. Poker has not seemed to dissipate. I mean, you had the moneymaker effect. People were very interested in poker. People are still very interested in poker. You had the biggest field in the history of the tournament this year. It just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. $10,000. And for anyone that doesn't know about how this works, Donnie, I've actually heard people say to me, "Wow, they really have $100 million in front of them." No, this is a poker tournament where it's a fixed amount you buy in for, and it's a fixed prize amount. So basically, you get a certain amount of chips, and you build them over the course of the tournament. Now they've been playing for about 7.5 days. Donnie, you're down to the final 7. Over $8 million to first. You got a guy, Donnie, in the final 7 named Joe Cata, who Donnie, Joe Cata's won this tournament before. He won it back in 2009,
Oh, wait.
yeah, our
Okay.
Michigan kid, Joe Cata. One of my favorite players. Always have enjoyed Joe Cata. I remember him and Darvin Moon in that 2009 World Series. It was a great battle. And Joe Cata. I mean, pretty unbelievable. I mean, you make a final table, you win the tournament, and 9 years later, you get back to the final nine, and you're right there in the final six of this tournament. Impressive stuff. At only 30 years old, Donnie. Keep in mind, he was 21, youngest main event champion ever when he won in an '09. I know you're pretty impressed by this. I played poker for a long time, and the WSOP has always been a bucket list item of mine. I do have to say, Donnie, we're gonna try to make it happen next year.
Yeah, it's interesting. The first time I ever played poker actually on a felt table was last year at the IFBC. I have no idea how to play. I know the generalities. Like if you put me on Poker Stars back in the day, I had a lot of fun because everything was set in front of you where you just have to click a button. Do you want to gamble this? I have no idea what the betting increments are, and that stuff. But I do find it interesting when it boils down to. But one of the old things we always argue about, Jeff, like with the old and the new. I was watching last night, as they're going around. I believe it was on 9 to 11 on the East Coast here, and really enjoying it because 8.8 million to the winner. Everybody looks like they're at the final table. You could decompress a little bit, even though you still want to win. But once you make the final table, you're a millionaire at that point. But I got into the fact where they were saying, like back in '08, Jeff, when he first won, or '09, where the old heads, Jeff, the guys who like to play, say it was almost like it was disrespectful that he won because he had two hands that he shouldn't have played that he actually won on that propelled him to actually winning the tournament. I always get a kick out of that. But if you're not like, same thing in like the touting world, if you like the old guys don't like the way you actually play your games, it's sort of like a dilemma in there. But I thought it was funny that he won a couple hands, but they don't give him proper credit, Jeff, for winning the tournament because he didn't play the hands right.
Well, it wasn't that he didn't play the hands right. It was that he won the hands that he played. Basically, I don't know if you know, Donnie, what hands he had, but he had in that tournament, he had pocket threes and pocket deuces, and he was up against queens and jacks in those hands, and he found a way to win. He flopped a set both times. So I think people I will say this, Donnie. I know in the poker community, a lot of the older heads, the Negreanu's, the Phil Ivies, the Helmuths, all these older guys, the ones that are the big guys, they don't respect the main event champion generally, just because it is generally a one hit wonder. The kid last year, for instance,
It's a
he
lot of
he gets
luck.
knocked out
Yeah.
on he gets knocked out on day one. So it is a lot of luck. But you look at a kid like Joe Cata. I mean, this is Joe Cata. This will be his, if he wins, this will be his fourth bracelet. This is a guy that won a tournament earlier this year. He's won the main event before. I think we got to start giving Joe Cata some major respect if he's able to, not only even win this tournament. In fact, he's even in the final six is unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, it's impressive stuff, man. All these kids, whatever you do, winning the World Series of Poker is pretty unbelievable. But there is a lot of luck you need in this tournament. But hey, over 8 mil to the winner. Congrats, whoever it is. I hope it's Joe Cat. I've always really liked Joe, so hopefully he wins. Um, Matt McCursey loves poker. Good stuff. Yeah, always fun to play. Yep, 7,400 entries. Pretty amazing. Yeah, settle down, Bruce Chad. Maybe it's time for you to go back to bed, Chad. Bruce Chad. Bruce Chad acting out there early in the morning. Um, let's let's keep it moving here. Hall of Fame won't mention Owens. I mean, this is a fucking saga here, isn't it? One day they are, the next day they aren't. What's the story here, Donnie?
Yeah, it's really disappointing because if you're looking for Terrell Owens to get into the Hall of Fame, which he should have been in earlier, he finally gets in, and it's a great time to get in, Jeff, because us in Philadelphia, even though he only played a handful of games here, is put up on that pedestal of legendary, loved Philadelphia athletes. And Brian Dawkins gets inaugurated, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame as well. There's going to be a monster amount of Eagle fans out there that gave him a lot of love, even though Niner fans, I don't know if they would travel out, but in Philadelphia, he's beloved, and there'll be a lot of Eagle fans out there. For him not to show up, but again, it gets to a bigger point, Jeff. And, we've always known T.O. to be a little bit off in his ways, a little bit self-centered and, it's my way or the highway and hard-headed, but always a fantastic player in the NFL, one of the best wide receivers, if not the best of all time. But it's a shame. Like, there is a little bit of mental issues going on here because your biggest night you're ever going to have in accolades of football, of finally getting the respect that you think you deserve, is getting enshrined in the Hall of Fame. And they give you, Jeff, like a half hour by yourself on stage to thank the people that you love, the people that got you there. Maybe you want to take a jab at a couple people along the way, but you finally get your just due in front of that national audience. And he's so off in his head that he can't even do it. He's going to have a speech at UT Chattanooga. I can't understand it, from a player's perspective, why on the biggest night of your life that you're going to shun it and go there. And then the Hall of Fame, of course, is going to clap back and say, look, he doesn't want to be here. It's obvious. So we're going to take his picture down probably. We're not even going to mention him. We're not even going to say, hey, the inaugurated class that has, 6 guys in it. We're just going to omit his name from there. Yeah, we'll put your bust in the Hall of Fame, but that's about it at this point. It's really a shame when it comes down to, but, T.O. is probably the only one at fault here.
Yeah, look, I mean, he doesn't want to recognize them. They don't want to recognize him. He has ego issues, obviously. But hey, listen, he's still in the Hall of Fame. Just isn't going to speak at it. I would have liked to have heard his speech, frankly. Generally,
It would have
they're
been
pretty
great.
interesting.
It would have been a great one because Jeff, like he's an emotional guy. He probably would have broke down 3 or 4 times talking about the tough times growing up. His grandma getting Alzheimer's and raising him as a young kid and what he had to fight through and coming up through the ranks. It's a very good story, but he is a little bit squirrely, so to speak. But it's a shame that you're not going to get to see him get his just due. But it's not the Hall of Fame saying, hey, you know what, we'll put you in, but stay away from us here. It's him doing it there. But again, that just goes back to his mental state at this point. Is just wild, where I think he thinks he can still play football, which if you read some articles a couple weeks ago, it's all right to hang him up, T.O. Like, smell the roses once in a while. You're there. You made it. You're home. One of the best ever.
Exactly. Hit the like button if you're out there, please. That is a very important part of the show. I know we get people as the show goes on to join us. Make sure you hit the like button. MLB rule gaining steam. Donnie, I know you're all over this second base and extras. Are you for this rule? Do you want it to happen? What's the story?
You know what? I am actually for this rule for gambling purposes as well. Like, look, if you say it's not the game of baseball, right? Let's just say you have a wager on the game. When you get to extra innings, isn't it pretty much a coin flip, Jeff, at that point? Like, let's just say you had the Arizona Diamondbacks and you're up 3-2 in the 7th inning and you blew the lead and it goes to extra innings. You already burned your 7th, 8th, and 9th, which is probably your closer heading into extra innings. You're going to be burning your bullpen up for the next day. Why not put a man on second base with no outs in the 10th? They did the study. It's actually going on in minor league baseball where I believe in 2017, like 200 or so games, Jeff, went past the 10th inning. And since they put on the runner on second base, only I believe, a handful of games actually even make it past the 10th inning at this point. There's no point in burning bullpen starters and going into the 16th inning to watch Daniel Descalso pitch at that point. Put the guy on second base. It's a coin flip anyway. And Jeff, how poor the Major League Baseball teams are run at this point, I'm pretty sure if you put a man on second base with nobody out, they probably would still not bunt him over the third and you get 3 straight strikeouts because analytics would say it's better to swing and miss and not score the run, Jeff, than actually score the run. Huh.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this rule as well. I'm ready to see these games move on a little bit quicker. They're taking too long in the late extras. You're blowing out bullpens. You got to get this. No one wants to see a pitcher pitch. I know once in a while it's interesting, but we don't want to see that. It's bad for
Or if you
baseball.
have money on it, right? Like if you're down to your last
Right.
guy, Jeff, like, dude, I got the Pittsburgh Pirates here when the 15th inning and Starling Marte comes in the pitch. You're like, what the hell kind of bad luck is this? Put a guy on second base. The game will end. Whoever gets is it any different than getting in the extra innings, Jeff, and you lead off with a double? Just put the guy on second base. Get the game over with. It helps bettors get to bed early, Jeff. I'm old. I don't need to stay up to the 17th inning, Jeff. Get it done in the 10th. Let me get some sleep.
Isaiah Thomas goes to the Nuggets, 2-year or $2 million 1-year deal. Listen, I got to tell you, from a Nuggets perspective, great move. This is a big time move for them. He's going to have to assume that 6th man responsibility. And I got to tell you, they really needed a backup point guard. Jamal Murray, that's your starter, but you need a backup. And you look at all of a sudden, Donnie, this is my surprise team. I like this Nugget basketball team. Look, they're not going to win the NBA title, but down the road, this is a team I like. I like what they're going to do. I think they're going to win and cover a lot of games this year. You look at this team all of a sudden. I mean, you got Jamal Murray there. Gary Harris is nice 2 guard. I'll tell you what, Malik Beasley out of Florida State has crushed it in the summer league. He's a high flyer. that kid playing the two guard there. You brought in Michael Porter. I think when healthy, I think he's a complete steal. You have Paul Millsap. Jokic is obviously a high level player. You got some real nice depth. You got some depth in the draft with Thomas Welsh and Jared Vanderbilt. I think all of a sudden this is a pretty decent team. I know they made another move last night, got rid of Kenny Fareed and Daryl Arthur, which they had a huge surplus of bigs. So getting rid of those wasn't a big deal. Bringing in Isaiah Thomas, uh, if you can resurrect your career a little bit, you can carve out a nice six-man opportunity for you in the NBA, Donnie. You're on mute.
I'm glad you put that on from a player's perspective of what it actually going to be when he gets to Denver. I wanted to take a look at the salary here because, you don't feel bad for professional players typically, or, they get paid or whatever they get paid. They're playing in the NBA. They make enough money as is. But this is one of those guys, Jeff, that sort of caught one of the rare defeats in the NBA because say what you want about him on the Celtics. He was the heart and soul of the Celtics, the go-to guy, the man that when you needed to get a bucket and carry you to a win, it was Isaiah Thomas. And I remember coming into the last year of his contract eligible for an extension, and he's saying like, hey, the writing was on the wall from the Celtics saying, you know what, we don't really know if we want to pay you. So Isaiah was playing like the good soldier out there saying, hey, I'm not worried about my salaries here. Let's get good. I make $5 or $6 million, whatever it is. When the time comes, people are going to have to back the Brinks truck up to sign me. Here we are a couple years later, Jeff, getting the minimum to go to Denver when everybody cashes in the NBA. That star that was shining so bright out there, Jeff, set up in line. He's talking about him and his agent, max contracts, that $200 million, $150 million deal. And look what he ends up with. And he's getting shipped from team to team to team. It's amazing that he missed, out on that monster payday so far. And he's going to have to resurrect himself in Denver when he probably, Jeff, should have already been paid. Crazy stuff.
Dude, not for nothing. I mean, you could argue he's one of the unluckiest players in the league. I mean, he's really had it seems like everything bad's happened to him at the worst times. I mean, just in general. But I got to tell you look at this year. If he can come in there and give them, let's say he can give them what he gave last year, 15, 18 points a game off the bench. He's not going to be Lou Williams, but if you could somehow get a player, right,
cheap.
like a Lou Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, what he's going to do is he's in a 1-year deal. He can go out there if he can play a full season. He's going to get a nice deal, I'd imagine. Over the he's been there. He's been to the All-Star game. He's been a guy that knows how to win. He just has to accept the role and see what he can do. Where's Wilson Chandler? Wilson Chandler went to the 76ers. Team. I agree, Mikey. I think they're around a 60-win team as well. I really like some of the moves they've made. I like Jamal Murray a lot. Jokic is a high-level player. And if Michael Porter can come back healthy, I think you have a really good player there, and you got him at a nice spot in the draft. Let's go into baseball, Donnie. We'll recap what went on last night in baseball. It was an interesting night. It's always an interesting night on the diamond, as we know. A lot of shenanigans. Runs in Cleveland. Cleveland, of course, Donnie, with no one bets on them, explode, which is no surprise yesterday.
No, hey, look, you had two of the better pitchers in baseball coming into this matchup here, but also some good hitting lineup. And it seemed like, Jeff, they were teetering back and forth the entire game. One team would take a lead, the next team would tie it up. One team would take a lead, the next team would tie it up. So it was fun to watch it all the way through, but I didn't anticipate that many runs being scored there. But I think most people were dead on that one yesterday. I'm always going to play the contrarian. I didn't have a wager on this game, but everybody was on the Yankees yesterday. And hey, they ended up winning. So everybody was right if you did take the Yankees yesterday. Fun game to watch overall. A lot of balls left the yard, a lot of power in that game. But hey, look, two of the better teams in the AL record-wise, or should I say standings-wise at this point. But I think we can all agree overall, if both of these teams are healthy down the stretch, starting pitchers, bullpen, and lineups down the stretch, I think we can all agree the Yankees are probably the overall better team at this point. But fun to get these summer matchups, man. I like to see the Indians finally go because just as from an overall perspective, Jeff, as a handicapper, I don't cap very many Indians games. I don't cap very many Yankees games because most of the lines are ridiculously overflated on both sides. It was just nice to see a -110, -115 out there that you could sink your teeth into and see which way you can go.
Donnie, I thought the difference in this game probably was the bullpens. And I don't think anyone thought Corey Kluber would give up 6 runs. That was kind of the big turning point here. But, I mean, a big win for the Yankees. Look, they're a better team than Cleveland. We all know that. And the continued talk is, can the Yankees go out and get a Manny Machado? Are they going to go out and get a pitcher? They have to do it. Trade deadline coming up. Got to make the move. Um, Kyle Gibson, Donnie, was very good last night.
Yeah.
Donnie, I want to shout him out. I know he listens to the show once in a while. Shout out to my good friend, the Chill, a guy that taught me a lot in this business. You and Donnie, you and Chill are kind of like you're like an older brother. Chill's like a father figure, let's say. For anyone that doesn't know, College Chill is a South Philly legend. He's taught me a lot about sports betting. He's the only one that I know that as far as other than Donnie, that I really trust when it comes to sports betting. And he's an old school guy. He bets a lot of games, bets a lot of big money. And he called me last night, Donnie, on the way home from the show. You know what
Mhm.
he told me? He said, "Get on Minnesota tonight,"
Yeah.
and I got to tell you, he was dead on the money. He knew Blake Snell would have some trouble, and I don't think he knew that there'd be a rain delay. Or maybe he did. I don't know. But I think the rain delay really screwed up Snell here.
No, you know what's funny about that too, Jeff? How many times do you see that? Like, sometimes it might be a pop-up shower, or you never know, or you might see like some rain coming that never comes, or maybe it does. But how many times? And there's a lot of gamblers out here in the chat box. You always get that sinking feeling, like when you take, like, you got Blake Snell, you got Max Scherzer on the mound, or you have Chris Sale on the mound, and it's a rain delay and a long one just to start the game. Don't you feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just the gamblers in all of us, and like, the contrarian view, and it always goes downhill. But I saw that. I didn't have any wager on the game last night, but I'm going. I said, you know what? If I had that game and there was a rain out and Snell was still going to be on the mound, or you didn't know when it was going to start, it messes up, like, your flow, because as a pitcher, you don't know if it's really going to get delayed or not. So you go about your day as if you're going to start that game, let's just say 7:05, like it's supposed to. Gets delayed an hour or two. I always have that bad feeling in my stomach that I'm on the wrong side, even though it technically shouldn't matter. You ever get that feeling?
Oh yeah, I hate anything that will screw the momentum up of the game. Like last year with the anthem thing, like it kind of screwed up the starts for teams, Donnie. In the
Yeah.
NFL, when they did the end
Yep.
thing, it was like, what are you doing this for? You're fucking up the momentum of the game here. Like the Steelers did it, but yeah, I hate it. I'm not a big fan of that. And you saw last night, it seemed like it got to Snell a little bit. Snell just
Yeah.
wasn't on. I got to tell you, this next fucking story, I'm gonna go fucking postal on. I have fucking had it with this fucking Paxton. Every time I back this fuck, he does something stupid and I lose. Every other game he's fucking unbelievable in. But of course, last night, I guess he didn't know he had a fucking back issue. He goes into the game, gives up 2 home runs, and then goes out. That fucking ice bath and a fucking massage. While we have to sit here and fucking wallow in misery because there's no way we're gonna win. We got some chasing Bradford guy in the game that can't get anyone out. The Angels fucking cruise and we all lose our money. You should have stayed out of the fucking game, Paxton. That way none of us would have fucking bet on your ass. We wouldn't have to deal with it. I hate that shit, Donnie. When you got a guy who goes in, there's nothing worse than that. You get a pitcher, you back the pitcher, he goes out with a fucking injury. The worst.
Yeah, no, and they moved him up a day, Jeff. Like, that wasn't even his normal start. You could actually, why don't you yell at Felix as well for bailing out on that one? But I saw the telecast after it was done. I knew he was on a little bit one day start. I didn't know if he had a back issue, whatever it was coming in, but his timing was a little bit off. Obviously, being bumped up one day. But if you are the Seattle Mariners, Jeff, at that point, right? Like, he's your main gun. And maybe he's not right, or bump him up. Why wouldn't you just pull a kid up out of, like, say, Double A or Triple A to get the start and say, Paxton, you're our guy. I'm not going to mess up your technique out here. Go on your normal rest day. Maybe we'll pick up a win. That was the worst case scenario that could have happened. A, you lost to a division rival, but B, you get Paxton jacked up with a back injury when he's had injuries in the past. I know you're going to get a breakup with the All-Star break, but you got to be smarter than that midseason. But didn't work out well. And
And
congratulations if you were on that low money dog last night, the Los
and you know
Angeles
what,
Angels.
Donnie? You know what pissed me off also? It wasn't even Paxton. It was the fact that I capped that game the way that I wanted because I don't like the Angels against lefties.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's why I capped that game the way I did. And it just fucked everything up. Um, but again, you know what, Donnie? The night before, I had the Atlanta Hawks +3. They were down 24 and a half and came back and won and covered. I guess those things even out, don't they?
They always will. Yeah, no,
Uh,
no. I'm always a big proponent of that last night because we'll get into the next game. We'll flow right over. Tyone was awesome last night for the Pittsburgh Pirates, getting in and out of key situations, and wasn't really happy on my side. They had the Brewers, and again, if you're going to lose a dog, you're going to have to take some shots on dogs. That's why they're getting the number last night. So I ended up taking a loss on the Brewers last night. They were in it for a while, and I did see the comeback later and some highlights there. But when you're down 6-1 on the road, you're not expected to win that game. And Vasquez is an unbelievable closer, shuts the door with a double play on Aguirre to get there. But just getting back to that game as well, like again, being from Gamblers, Jeff, I think you're on the same page as me. If you're betting, let's just say the NBA Summer League, right, and you're up 24 points in the third quarter, you're like, you know what, I should win that game. Vice versa, if you're down 24 points in the third quarter, I don't get upset about that game because I'm not supposed to win. It's been a while, nice little run going there until that loss on the Brewers last night. Jordy Mercer gets 4 RBIs. Sometimes, Jeff, you just tip your cap and say it's not going to be our night, even though they didn't get the comeback. I don't mind losing that game as a dog because, again, if I'm down 6-1 in the game, I don't anticipate winning it. So a no stress night for me. But the original point, Jeff, Tyone's been good. He might get a little bit of an upgrade in my book at this point because he is striking players out at a nice clip. Sets his record last night, getting double-digit strikeouts, I believe, in like 5.5 innings by the time he got that 10th K. Good start by him last night, Jeff.
yeah, he was very good. The Brewers couldn't do anything. Ugly stuff from them, but yeah, Tyone was very good. Oakland again, Donnie wins. They were down 4-0, scored 6 unanswered,
Yeah.
6-4 win and beat Houston. Don, it's funny. I went into the book yesterday, the bookie that I go to, and I told him, I said, who's everybody betting on today? He said, everybody bet Houston. I said, I said, oh, it's good for you. He goes, no, it's not. I bet them as well. Um, Everybody bet Houston. Houston was the big play yesterday for all the degenerates, Donnie, and they always are. They usually win, but they went down yesterday.
Yeah, it's a couple of them like that. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying a couple of games like that. Like when you have that heavy edge, because again, it's hard to step in front of Houston at home, isn't it? Just psychologically, you say, all right, let me get this straight. I'm going to bet against the best team in baseball at home. I don't know if I want to do that, but hey, dude, again, bad teams, Jeff, they typically don't even get swept in a series, so they're going to win one of those 3 games. Just have to pick the right one out there.
Phillies grab a win yesterday. It was 5-0. Orioles try to make it interesting, but Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in, gives you a save. 5-4 Phillies. They beat Baltimore.
That's a nice win by them. I mean, coming off a tough loss in New York, getting down, as you saw the notes out there, getting in like 3:30 a.m. in Baltimore, coming out. They put a good lineup out there yesterday and were able to scratch some runs early to get ahead. But in typical Phillies fashion, they always make it tight. But it's nice, Jeff. At the end of the line in the bullpen, you have one of the more dominant relief pitchers in baseball. Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in. Seems like he shuts it down every single time he's in the game. It's a nice weapon to have. Can't overuse him because he's a younger guy. So you see the reports out there now the Phillies are going to try to get in on Zach Britton. They do need to make a move to get another bullpen piece. But that brings it along to today, which we'll get into in just a few moments. Some interesting stuff with, again, yesterday, Marlins being off in Miami, waiting at home. Phillies road weary at this point. Played a couple games in Pittsburgh, played a couple games up where's the New York Mets, then had a pit stop in Baltimore, then going down to South Florida tonight for the last 3-game trip before the All-Star break. So some interesting stuff, Jeff. We'll get into that. But overall, nice win by the first place Philadelphia Phillies.
A couple comments here for the chat. Yankees aren't consistent. Harper isn't either. What's not consistent about the Yankees? What? What? You mean they're not consistent? They have 27 championships, and this year they're one of the best teams in the league. What do you mean they're not consistent? What does that mean? If Harper goes to the Yankees, people complain. Oh, they always. I mean, the Yankees are that team. They don't, people don't like that, but they haven't done that a lot lately. Heard they want Snell. They want Snell, but I don't think they're going to get Snell. Where do you think Harper ends up if we'll get 400 million? Listen, you would think the Yankees. I don't know that I want him though. Back at Garrett today, says CC Fitness. We'll get into that. Jay Murphy, enjoy your time off. Thanks for the show. Always look forward to it. You guys are great. Thanks, Jay. I think I said that. Thanks, Jay. Mookie Betts, Donnie, last night also with a big time grand slam. I got to tell you, that was an impressive piece of hitting. And that kid, Donnie, I mean, he's obviously the MVP favorite, but that at bat last night just goes to show you why he is the MVP. I mean, I don't know if you saw that at bat. That was a 13 pitch at bat. That was an impressive motherfucking at bat. He golfs a grand slam and the home run. I mean, the power you need to have, Donnie, to hit the ball that far at that angle. That was impressive stuff, man.
No, he's really good, and like again when I talk about skills eroding in baseball, Jeff, that's the complete opposite of an at bat that what you can anticipate from a major leaguer. You know, going up against good pitch, Ahab's a decent pitcher out there. You get down 1 and 2, you're just trying to protect the plate, and you're not going to change your swing or your launch angle. How about the ability, Jeff, to keep fouling off pitches until you get one you like and get in a pressure situation where you flip it back 1 and 2? We can all agree that the pitcher is in control in a leverage situation. 3 and 2 with bases juiced, you know you have to get a strike. And J Happ actually threw a pretty good pitch to him, considering the 3-2. You don't just want to groove one right down the middle, threw it a little bit down and in, and he golfs it out of the ballpark. But that's a sensational bat. Very few players, Jeff, are able to work their way out of a 1-2 count and get a pitch they like to drive it for a home run. Most guys, a la the Chris Davises of the league, get 2 strikes and just say, you know what? Throw me anything. The minute I see it out of your hands, if it hits the mascot in the upper deck, I'm going to wave at it just so I can go back because I know I have no shot with 2 strikes on me. Unbelievable piece of hitting. I love it. And how many times do we see it, Jeff, where you see a batter that's onto a pitcher, fouling it away, fouling it away, fouling it away? You can almost assume that he's just waiting to get the pitch he wants and he's onto the pitcher. Unbelievable bat, great player. And Boston's rolling as well. That Yankees-Boston duel, Jeff, throughout the summer is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. I got to ask Chris Carter, what planet are you on today, Chris Carter? I mean, do you take something or something? I mean, you've been commenting on some weird things, man. I mean, it's funny, but I got to ask, like, what planet are you on today, bro?
Maybe he's
Um,
going.
yeah, exactly. Let's get into you zonking out here. What's the story with you? Let's get into the card today, Donnie. What do we have on the agenda?
Yeah, take a quick look at some games here and go over some numbers. Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Junior Girls on the mound versus Nick Kingham, fresh off the win. Pirates on a roll, Jeff, 5 straight winners. How about this? 18% of the tickets early backing up the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jeff. What's that mean? 82% heavy public attention going to Junior Gura and the Milwaukee Brewers here on the road. Line opens up at 110 as a favorite for Milwaukee, 130 at Chris. That line is pretty much settled, Jeff, 115, 117, depending on where you're shopping around. But if you're just looking at, team to team, game by game, nice win last night by Pittsburgh, waiting for those bats to come around for the Milwaukee Brewers. They're probably not going to strike out, 13, 14 times in this game. Kingham, obviously not the same pedigree as a Jameson Tyone. We'll see what Gura has on the road. If I had to look at it this night, look, I don't like when 82% are going to back a road team in this environment. Last night was somewhere around the 60s, somewhat palatable if you're looking at that. I don't have much on this game early to take a look at numbers, but I'm always going to lean towards the Brewers at a low number.
Yeah, this is a big game for the Brewers. I mean, they've lost 4 of 6. You going into the All-Star break, you obviously want to kind of get a series win. It's a big game for them. You obviously didn't get the job done last night. You weren't good from the plate. But the truth of the matter, Donnie, is these teams just play low. 28 of the last 40 between these teams have gone under the number. You look at Guerra this year, 11 of his 16 starts have gone under the number. You have 2 teams here that, are good offensively, not great. 2 solid pitchers. I hate to be basic and rudimentary, but and you know what, Donnie? I'm about sick of doing this, but I'm gonna back Brewers under again. I don't know what else to do here. These it's the gift that has gave for a lot, and it's given back a little bit as well. I lean under here. I mean, these 2 teams play low. I lean Brewer Crew as well. This is a big game for them. They got to find a way to win this and get a series win here as you head into the mid-season point. But under looks good. I mean, these teams usually play low.
You know what's interesting about that, Jeff? The last 2 games I bet the Brewers, I'm 1-1 on. But the thing that I always like to factor in with the Brewers is their bullpen is usually really good and really reliable. In the game I won last week, the Brewers collapsed in their bullpen. And in the game last night, I'm saying, you know what, Jeff, we texted back and forth, with Miley, who I don't think is a very good pitcher, but I thought could possibly hold down the bats for the Pittsburgh Pirates, as he did. I think even the text I sent you, Jeff, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, which he actually ended up with. A little bit lucky to only end up with 2 earned runs. But I'm saying to myself, this game is playing out, Jeff, exactly the way I wanted to. Let's wait Tyone out. Let's keep the game close, and let's let the Brewers bullpen take over. Well, the Brewers bullpen explodes in the bottom of the 6th inning, giving up a few runs in that, and that game was over from that point. Sometimes when you think you have exactly what you're waiting for, Jeff, it does go against you because, hey, baseball, 162 games out there, man. Bullpens can't just be throwing 0 ERAs every night, which is kind of funny. The last 2 times I bet the Brewers is that the bullpen hasn't actually helped me. It's interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I bet these sometimes, these Brewer games, the pitching, the bullpens, choke on their own spit. Uh, Aspire to a late. Nick Kingham not good at throwing bases. Yeah, I haven't hated him. I think he's been okay. I don't think he's great. That's an interesting point by you. Um, he's not the worst pitcher in the world. He's not particularly good though. That's my one concern in this game and where this game might go off the rails. Nick Kingham getting crushed. I think the Brewers have to win this game. People tell me to stay off of it. Yeah, listen, but that's the problem with that. That's where I think is a good learning point for bettors, beginners and stuff. I think beginning bettors, Donnie, too much get to the point of, oh, this team lost for me 3 or 4 times. I'm done betting on them, and they lose out on
Phillies,
really
Jeff.
good
You do
betting
that to
opportunities.
the Phillies, Jeff. Yes, don't do it. You X'd out the
Yeah, but
Phillies,
the
Jeff. I've been
Phillies,
passionate on the
yeah, but
Phillies.
the thing is, the Phillies that's been a long term thing for me. That's been over the last couple of years. I don't generally do that, and I'm not going to do it here. I think unders make sense in Brewer games. It's going to suck if it loses, but I think sometimes bettors may get off things a little bit too quickly, and we might want to. Might want to kind of just ride out a good betting opportunity. Belgium game's not today, Bryce. It's tomorrow, and actually, we will
Sunday,
we'll
isn't it?
talk
Oh
about
wait,
it.
no, is the third place game is Saturday? Is actually a game tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk
Wow.
about it
Okay.
either tomorrow or I'll talk about it tonight with Morency. Let's move on. What
Oh,
else do we
cool.
have, Donnie?
No, next up, Phillies Marlins here. Interesting one, Jeff, because as we gave a little bit of a prelude to in the previous segment there. Phillies Road Warriors right now. 3 games in Pittsburgh. I believe they had 3 games against the New York Mets, some extra inning games. Then you take that pit stop in Baltimore for a 6 p.m. game in the hot sun. Then you go all the way down to South Florida with 3 games left before the break. A nice little party city down there with the Marlins waiting on you. Real Muto sat out most of the games this week, I believe, on paternity leave, but he should be back and available. A rested and ready, good bullpen, Jeff, from the Marlins, getting ready for this one. What to anticipate? Because Jake Arrieta hasn't been the end all be all this year. We know he can give good starts, but I believe, Jeff, again, I didn't look at this game in any numbers, but I think Arrieta struggled in his only start against the Marlins in Miami. We'll see how that plays in. But hey, you're going to have to go against and ride Wei and Chen, which I actually did his last start at home. He was very good, got rocked in his last start out. But that tired factor, Jeff, sooner or later is going to catch up to you. If one team is rested and ready and already at home, when you're playing in other cities and traveling to multiple cities over a couple-day period.
Yeah, this looks like a false flag here to me. This looks like a spot where a lot of people back to Phillies. This game will close at 125 or 120. The line will drop 20 cents, and you got to wonder why the line's dropped 20 cents. Jake Arrieta's been a little bit topsy turvy. You mentioned the travel situation here. Why is the line going down in this game, Donnie? Public's on the Phillies. Nobody wants to bet the
A
Marlins.
hammer.
Nobody likes Lee and Chen.
Yep.
This one I won't be betting on, but it won't surprise me if the Marlins win 5-3.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, again, I'm looking at just at the numbers right now. I know Arrieta hasn't been great, but Miami's that pesky team at home, and I always like it, Jeff. When you have a rested team that's already been at home, waiting on you there, their bullpen's going to be going. I know they had the extra innings game that they did beat the Brewers and expended some bullpen, but you get the day off, so everybody's probably going to be available. You'll probably have a really good starting lineup up there, and we'll see what the Phillies do today. I know they let Rhys Hoskins DH, so he's probably going to be in the lineup because that's ineffectively basically a day off for him. But maybe they give a Santana the day off. Maybe they give Cesar Hernandez a day off. You have to see what some of these lineups come out to be. Or maybe Alfaro's out of the lineup, who's been hot and can certainly keep you off the base paths. Something to keep track of, but just that knowledge of knowing that this team is dragging, even though they're playing decent baseball, dragging into another city there. We'll see what takes place. Nats Mets, Jeff, last night. Mets almost pulled off the comeback versus Max Scherzer yesterday, falling short by a run. They'll get back underway. Here's an interesting one. Look, Tanner Roark hasn't been very good. He's one of the pitchers I like to pick on if you're betting against the Nationals. And you see the name Syndergaard coming back, right? But he's coming back off the DL. Be leery of that. Got away with it last night. I usually don't do that, but Wade Miley coming back. He's not that power arm guy going against a bad lineup, but now Syndergaard's going to come back and go against a pretty good hitting lineup. The thing I don't like here, Jeff, if Syndergaard, let's just say he came back and was plus 105, maybe you like it a little bit more, but Syndergaard is the favorite in this type of environment here. We know the Mets struggle typically hitting, but you would think, Jeff, they would be able to hit Roark tonight, right?
You would think they would, but they're so fucking bad on offense. You don't ever expect them to do anything. This team is fucking putrid. I can't say I've seen a worse lineup in years from one baseball team. Donnie, how many times are we going to look at this fucking team and see them hitting 167, 180 over the last week? They fucking blow. They don't hit. I could go out there. We could put out, I don't know, Armin Hinoyosa to pitch today, and he could shut down the Mets. This team stinks. I don't ever want to bet them. I'm sorry. I'm not interested. This game stinks. It smells. I don't want to bet it because the Mets will make anyone look good. They just will. This is a joke of a lineup. It's a disgrace of a lineup. The Mets should be absolutely disgusted with themselves. They're a bad team with a bad lineup. It's a shame that Syndergaard and DeGrom have to pitch for this filth. They deserve better. They're better than that. Atrocious team. No, I'm not interested.
9:15, 9:16, Jeff. Yankees and Cleveland. A little bit different atmosphere, Jeff. Not so much the pitching hype matchup that we had yesterday. Going to have Herman versus Bieber. 53% are actually back in the home team here, Indians, Jeff. The line looks like it's creeping down a little bit. Yankees opened up as a favorite, -118, -119. That shifted back a little bit lower to a pick of -110, -11, depending on where you're shopping at. Over-under, Jeff, opens up at 9.5. It's actually back to 9 right now at this point. Two interesting pitchers here. Bieber, younger guy out there. Herman, not a lot of experience, so to speak, in Major League Baseball being a starter, but we're done some yeoman's work for the Yankees. I'm not going to be involved in this one. I see it's more of a coin flip at this point, Jeff. Any details on this one that you're looking at?
Yeah, listen, I think for me, I think it's more than a coin flip for this one reason. The bullpens. I don't trust Cleveland's bullpen. And against a good baseball team, I'm always going to take the other team against Cleveland because Cleveland has a bad bullpen. I mean, and they can lose games very easily late. Herman has pitched pretty well over his last two starts. Bieber hasn't. Bieber's went 6 innings in both and gave up 4 runs in each and 17 hits combined. So listen, I'm going to lean on the Yankees here again. Anytime they play the Indians, anytime a good team plays the Indians, I'm always going to take the other team. I don't trust their bullpen. They're not any good. I think we're getting pretty good value all weekend on the Yankees here. Close to even money against a random starter and a bad bullpen. Give me the Yankees.
Yeah, this is what I really like about these final series is, Jeff, and we'll get into it next. The Royals and the Chicago White Sox. We say, Donnie, why are you bringing up two just awful teams? Well, it's actually nice that these teams, Jeff, come into play for you again, because usually anytime the Royals take the field, they're plus 210. Anytime the White Sox take the field, it feels like they're plus 180. Now these two awful calamities of baseball teams line up with each other, and you get a nice price depending on which way you're going to go. If you want to take a favorite, you're not going to get beat over the head. It'll be about -120 with Shields on the mound versus Keller. If you want to take the Kansas City Royals, you're still going to be at a dog price or something really light. You can actually cap these games. Keller has been a decent pitcher for Kansas City, but we all know big game James on the other side, more smoke and mirrors than that hard fastball that he used to have out here, Jeff. The reason I bring this game up is I'm going to be digging in this one to see if I can find some value. Right now, just looking at the head-to-head pitching matchup, I know how bad the Royals are, but maybe taking a little bit of sniff around backing the Royals in this one, Jeff, at a plus money number.
I mean, listen, Donnie. I mean, Brad Keller has been very good for the Royal. I mean, he's kind of the future there, I have to think. I mean, he gave up 4 runs over his last start, but that was against the Red Sox. I mean, nothing wrong with that. At this point, you're not going to win anything in Kansas City. I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving up 4 runs against them. You had your chance, and you didn't pitch well. You didn't pitch terrible either. Keller's been very good. I'd lean on the Royals here. I like their lineup just a little bit more. This is a tough game, though. Donnie, I will say, one game that I do have my eye on, and I know you are always having your eye on this guy. I like that total in that Cub Padre game.
Yeah.
Why is it 8?
Why is it 8, Jeff? Give me an understanding why. Look, here's what you're going to get out of the game. San Diego pitcher right now just in a bad form, getting rocked all over the place. You look at Tyler Chatwood, it's 8. I wish you could have props bets in Vegas. He will have 100 pitches or more before he even gets out of the 5th inning. And it's an 8? Surprising, man. Real surprising.
Yeah, and the Cubs kill lefties. So it's like I don't understand.
Ryan's back in the lineup. Yeah, they're full go now too. Yes. Yep.
I mean, you look at the last few starts for Chatwood. I mean, Donnie, let's go back to May 5th, okay? Chatwood, 5 walks. May 11th, 5 walks. May 16th, 2 walks. May 22nd, 6 walks. May 27th, 5 walks. This guy's had 7 walks, 5. This guy has 70 walks in 79 innings. Jesus Christ, man. Your whip is almost 2. It's not going to change. I'm betting in
And
the
also,
over here.
Jeff, like, yeah, you're looking at like Clayton Richard coming in, just looking at some, even more advanced metrics or, whatever you want to say. 53%, Jeff, in this is his last 2 starts. 53% hard contact. Sometimes,
That's
you could pitch to say you get some lazy ground balls, Jeff. Every other pitch hitting your bat is a rocket off him. I don't know. It's an 8. I'm baffled. Honest to God, I'm
Yeah,
baffled. I am.
and I look here and I think San Diego can contribute 3 or 4. I would think. I think they're okay. You had some pretty decent hitter, Myers, Hosmer, Margot. I think they could score a couple runs here.
Yeah, and
This
it's
comes to
like if you
tough
think
stuff.
like at the Padres, Jeff, we always get like they can't score, they stink, they can't hit. But you know what the best remedy for that is, Jeff? When a pitcher gives you 5 free passes, somebody's going to get a hit somewhere on top of those 5 that you figure would be able to travel. Again, hey, it could be a 2-1 game. We can all laugh and chat will go 7 innings, but just from the MO of both of these guys, somebody's getting torched tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into a segment here that we want to do a chat about, just kind of a midseason quick chat about the overall league. What's going on with the league. Where teams are going to fade. Listen, Donnie, the fade team for me, Oakland will fade. Oakland's not going to keep playing the way they are. They're a team that I definitely have my eye on to fade a little bit. As far as improving at the deadline, it's got to be the New York Yankees. You have to go out and get a pitcher. If you can get yourself a pitcher, you're gonna, have a real opportunity to get to the World Series. I don't think you have an opportunity to get to the World Series with this current rotation. I just don't. Very good team, but they're not good enough. Disappointment, surprise. I think you would agree with me, Donnie. It's probably the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, easy.
Phillies, probably your surprise. What do you got in the midseason point here?
Yeah, fun finish is going to be, Jeff, in that Western Conference, Western Division there in the NL. The Dodgers, Arizona, Colorado, all jumbled up. San Francisco trying to get back into the pecking order there. I'm interested to see who's going to make that big change, like that power shift. Because I don't think DeGrom's going to go anywhere. I don't think Syndergaard's going to go anywhere. And you want to see these teams that are in it because you see every day like who's going to end up getting Machado. Who can he really help and be effective with? And what are you possibly going to give up? Usually the underrated moves, Jeff, come into play. Like maybe Kelvin Herrera going to the Nationals. Maybe he plays a big role down the stretch, but everybody's always looking for bullpen help as it comes in, just to shore up that pen when you get into the playoffs. Of course, the one joke of a conference is the AL Central when we look at the Indians at 50-42, and nobody's really even going to threaten them down the stretch because you have rebuilding teams like Minnesota, Detroit, the White Sox, and Kansas City. They're almost throwing in the towel. But when you look at teams like the Boston and the Yankees, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch down the stretch. Houston, where they're going to end up. Can Seattle maybe get an extra arm to compete, or are they going to fall apart? Because they have some really good fool's gold luck, Jeff, because it's hard to win games just by one run and continue to do that. We'll see if that catches up. My Philadelphia Phillies sitting in first place. I don't think that's going to last there unless they pull off something nasty where, they get it combined, Machado and Zach Britton, and then you say, you know what? Maybe they can make a run out of it. But it's been a great first half so far. Waiting for the Dodgers to see if they come back strong as well. But, not a ton of surprises, but I think we can both agree, like you said, Washington Nationals, man, just can't get out of their own way at this point.
No, they can't. A couple news and notes, Donnie, before we get to our off topic here. A couple things going on tonight. Get some summer league. I'll be on that, obviously. Today is the losers bracket day. So we're going to get. I do see a game that I'm already looking at. Little Nuggets action for sure. I really like this team, summer league wise. They have the Timberwolves. That'll be an interesting game. Get some other ones. We'll take a look here. Try to find something there. Also, big three. And I hope some of you listened and jumped on Tri State to win this tournament. Tri State is down to plus 280. I got them down at 5-1. Had a big win last weekend. They have a big game tonight as well. Three-headed Monsters, Tri State. Big time game. Three-headed Monsters off a game winner, Donnie. Down 2. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. A big 3-ball walk-off winner last weekend. Rauf with the gray hair, but he still knocks in 3 balls from anywhere on the court. That's a big game tonight against Tri-State. We'll get involved with some of those games as well. And there is no soccer today. Nothing that I'm looking at, of course. We'll go tomorrow. We'll deal with a little Belgium, England. Belgium, obviously, you'd expect goals in this game. I'll get to the breakdown a little bit later. Not sure if I have a planet or not. Donnie, let me ask you, who do you like in the third place game?
I think Belgium is going to win the third place game, Jeff, and I'm going to go with Lukaku as the man of the match.
Yeah. By the way, Don, you do know man of the match doesn't mean much of anything in this, right?
Look,
I don't
maybe
think
he
it
might
really
get
ever
voted
does.
man of the match. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to our final segment of the day. It's off topic. We don't generally get to it. Wally George, you're going to handicap the home run contest. I actually generally do bet on it. I'll pick one or two of the guys out and I'll rock with them. I got to look at the lineup though. Scott Boras is on the record saying Harper will go to the Yankees if he can share it. Yeah, Chris Carter, you're a weird character, bro. I mean, maybe I'll just pass over his comments from now on. What else do we have here? Spain Colomé to the Mariners is an underrated move. Yeah, I like what Spain has done in that lineup. I like the
I like
Mariners
him.
a lot, obviously, other than last night. Would you take the over in the Cubs at 8.5? Yes. Meadowlands, Donnie, opening up a sportsbook tomorrow.
Mhm.
FanDuel. I gotta wonder. I don't know about FanDuel. How are they going to deal opening a sportsbook? Think that's going to
It's
fall?
just sponsor. It's just a
Yeah.
sponsor on there, but it looks really nice. 5,300 square feet, some big screen TVs. But the interesting part that yes, it is in the Meadowlands, and kudos to New Jersey for some odd reason. Jeff, New York is just dragging their feet on sports gambling. You want to get right in that New York market and penetrate. I know Monmouth has done very well so far. Now you're going to put one in the Meadowlands in that North Jersey just packed environment. Great move by them. But it also brings me to the point, Jeff. You know, driving around, like I'll flip through, the Philly stations with the sports talk radio, but a lot of times I'll flip over to Sirius just to get that like national perspective. And I don't like, I'm shifting in my seat now because this really gets on my nerves. Like, can't we just speak in generalities when we're gambling? Like, you don't really have to know exactly what you're talking about to like have an opinion, but how ill-informed most national guys and just the everyday person is about what actually sports gambling is. Because they were arguing a point yesterday, Jeff, that I don't know if it's a good move because, like, if you go to the game, how many people are going to lose so much money, like betting on the game because they're there? And I'm saying stuff like, have you ever placed a wager out there? And are people bringing suitcases that are just your average construction worker Jets fan and betting $25,000 on the Jets that day? Most people bet 50, 100, 200, a few $100, go into the game and root it on. Just the ill effect of, oh my God, they're putting the sports book in there. You know how many people are going to lose their jobs in North Jersey because they're just going to bet all their money before they go into the game? Where does this perspective come from, Jeff? I just can't understand it anymore.
Look, I mean, I will say, Donnie, as I look at the landscape of what this is going to do, and when it's a nationwide thing, I do think you're going to see more gamblers, and I think you're going to see a lot of problem gamblers. I do. I mean, if you know anything about the English market, they have a major gambling problem there as far as some of the young kids and gambling addictions and things like that. There are going to be those things, but you know, you're going to have that in anything you do. I mean, there's a lot of alcoholics, there's a lot of sex addicts, there's a lot of drug addicts. I mean, you're going to have that in any vice you create. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are uninformed about the situation, and that's the big problem with everything nowadays, Donnie. Everyone has an opinion on everything. Unfortunately, I've had to listen to World Cup opinions over the last month, just hideous opinions that are just bad, and that's one of the great things about this tournament ending. I don't got to hear about these bad things, and we can take our game back, if you will. But yeah, it is nauseating to hear some of these opinions. Just don't make any sense whatsoever. A couple questions here on the topic: how long to online betting on sports in the U.S. is legal?
Soon.
Uh, well,
Soon.
I don't know about
Soon in New Jersey.
nationwide. Sure, nationwide it'll be a little bit. No, I
Yeah.
have no opinion on tennis. Um, Donnie, stop wasting time thinking about mainstream media when it comes to betting. Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
it's the
I think,
business we're in, though. Like,
yeah,
if you were in the same line of business where you earn a paycheck from it, you just get these just outlandish comments. Like, there was even arguments, Jeff. Like, can't you see through it? Like yesterday, like news broke that one sports book had like now the favorite to be Toronto, And they say, "Oh my God, man! Like if you really know, like Vegas sets a line. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. You can't go to Vegas and bet on that. That's an offshore market setting a promotional fee that you probably can't get down more than $50 on, and everybody runs with it, saying people, "Oh my God, looks like Toronto's." And nobody knows anything about that. Just tune in and be better than that. That's all. Just don't run with these stereotypes. It's just annoying.
Couple other off-topic things, then we'll wrap it up, Donnie. Um, a lot of people lost followers just today. Shout out to all you fake fucks who bought followers and you lost them all. Hey, Donnie, how about me? I
What?
actually went up in followers yesterday when all you
Yeah, me too.
fucks lost.
Hmm.
That's what real ones do, Donnie. When the shit happens and the shit hits the fan, we keep going up, buddy. That's what
Yeah, don't be
happens.
left holding the bag out there, man. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I sent the tweet out yesterday.
Yeah.
Like the whole point of having followers is you want like a followers to engage back. You put a comment out there, people comment back. You have fun out there. What fun would it be if you had 100,000 followers that you bought and you only had like 20 real ones? Is that cool? I don't know. Maybe.
Got to shout out this guy too, Donnie. We kind of forget about this. I don't know if the actual lay fan knows about this, but do you happen to know who Nikola Kalinic is? Do you know who that is?
No.
Well, he might be the most embarrassed man in the world today and yesterday as he wakes up. This is a guy, Donnie, Nikola Kalinic. He played on the Croatian team. Good player. Um, Against Nigeria, first game of the tournament, he was asked to come on and play. He says, "No, I don't want to go on. I have back problems." What does the coach do? Sends him home. Now they're in the World Cup final. Imagine being him.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Okay. No, I heard that story. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Unluckiest guy in the world. Amazing. Um, what else do we have here? One other story. Oh, by the way, a Leangelo Ball update. JBA debuted, Donnie. 53 points. Impressive or no?
For who?
Leangelo Ball, 53 points yesterday.
Oh,
Is that impressive?
very impressive. Yeah, the other thing I want to get impressed with again, I love the New York media, Jeff. Through like a game and a half or maybe a game, Kevin Knox seems to be
Don't
placed
say it.
on the
No, no,
same
no.
the
Settle down.
same pedestal as LeBron James and the same pedestal as
No,
Michael
no, no,
Jordan.
no,
Maybe
no, no.
Furkan Korkmaz, who had 44 points, he should be already in the Hall of Fame. Let's pump the brakes here in the summer league and calling guys the absolute best player they've ever seen.
Well, I've said it. I've been on record as saying I think he's going to be one of the best players in Nick history over the last 10 years. I'm really excited about Kevin Knox. I think
10
he's going to
years.
be
You
a
might as well go back 50 years. The Knicks stunk for 10 years, though. That's not saying that much. Like Jeremy Lin's
whatever.
probably their best player.
All right, the last 20 years. I think you could put him on some of those really. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's going to be a high level player for them for a long time. But yes, there are some things in. I remember when Korkmaz dropped 40. It's he's the next great player
Yeah.
for the Sixers. So there's a lot of interesting opinions. That's what people do. They go off their rocker. Um, let's wrap it up here, Donnie. We'll be
Yep.
back tomorrow. Break it down the baseball card. Then we're off, guys. So Monday we won't be here. Won't be back till Friday. So I'm sure you all miss us much, but we'll be back. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks to SBR for hosting the show, and we'll see you Saturday here for the closing line. Everyone have a great day. Bye bye.